Hard lockdown in Sampaloc District, Manila City begins tonight. The Interagency Task Force on COVID-19 submits its recommendations to President Rodrigo Duterte on the enhanced community quarantine in Luzon. The Department of the Interior and Local Government issues show cause orders to 29 barangay chairmen in Metro Manila. Improper wearing of personal protective equipment, one reason why infection rate among healthcare workers is high in the Philippines, says the Health Department. The World Health Organization warns about worrying upward trends of coronavirus cases in some regions of the world. Coronavirus death toll in France eases close to Spain's as it remains the world's fourth highest.
The 48-hour hard lockdown imposed by the Manila City government in the district of Sampaloc is now in effect. It began at exactly 8 tonight. Vincent Arboleda is in Sampaloc, Manila to give us a view of the situation there live. Vincent? Yes, Vincent, go ahead.
Good evening, Diego. All residents of Sampaloc, Manila are prohibited to go outside of their homes except for healthcare workers and those exempted under the enhanced community quarantine provisions. This is due to the implementation of the hard lockdown by the Manila government, which takes effect tonight. An hour before the hard lockdown, officials from a barangay in Manila robbed their areas to remind residents of the lockdown. The quarantine pass issued by the local government will also not take effect during the 48 lockdown period. As the UNTV news team roamed the area of Sampaloc, Manila, residents used the remaining time to buy all their necessities for the two-day hard lockdown. As the sun set, fewer residents can be seen roaming on the streets. Although major roads remain open, some minor streets or pathways were barricaded by the residents to prevent entry and exit. The Trabajo Market, once bustling with people, closed early due to the implementation of the hard lockdown. Police will be roaming the streets of Sampaloc while selected barangay officials will also patrol the area. Those who will be found outside of their home during the lockdown period will be caught and dealt with accordingly. Diego, according to authorities, those who will be apprehended violating the hard lockdown measures here in Sampaloc, Manila will be brought to a temporary detention area, which is one of the 4 basketball courts. These are covered courts manned by the Philippine National Police. They said social distancing will also be implemented, but they will be detained in those areas for the maximum duration of the implementation of the hard lockdown. Cases will also be filed due to their disobedience of the law. The hard lockdown is supposed to end on Saturday of 8 p.m. but due to the implementation of the 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. curfew of the enhanced community quarantine, residents of Sampaloc in Manila are expected to go out of their homes or allowed to go out of their homes on Sunday at 5 in the morning. That's the latest live. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Vincent Arboleda, for that report live from Sampaloc, Manila. The Interagency Task Force against Coronavirus Disease has submitted its recommendation and basis for the President's decision on enhanced community quarantine. It's now up to the President to decide on the matter. Rosalie Cos details the reason why.
The Interagency Task Force against Coronavirus Disease has submitted to the Office of the President its recommendation and basis for the country's top official to decide whether to retain, lift, or modify the Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine due to end on April 30. Malacanang reveals President Rodrigo Duterte has yet to decide on this.
Ganun pa man, inaasahan po natin ang ganyang desisyon. Anong oras po ngayon?
According to Secretary Harry Roque, President Duterte will weigh the factors between income and health. Meanwhile, the IATF has also forwarded its proposed decision tool for a modified enhanced community quarantine. This includes the minimum health standards for the people, geographic risk of outbreak, age and health risk, essential sectors, and the use of public transport. The palace assures the chief executive will make a conservative decision.
However, I am here to confirm that the President will base his decision on science, that he has gotten the best advice, scientific advice from his own cabinet and from the private sector, including the academia.
The President will meet with the IATF tonight. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, based on the investigation into the incident in Bonifacio Global City, that gig in which several policemen barged into a high-end residential condominium, authorities found out that the cops entered the premises of the residential building after some residents complained about several foreign nationals who were violating the ECQ protocols. The report said the foreigners were staying at common areas such as the swimming pool area. Malacanang, for its part, has this warning.
Ang ECQ po ipatutupad sa lahat, sa mayaman, sa mahirap, sa Pilipino o sa dayuhan. Kung ayaw nyo pong tumupad dyan, lalong-lalo na yung mga dayuhan, umalis na po kayo ng Pilipinas. You are free to go.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government served show cause orders to 29 barangay chairmen in Metro Manila. Tell us why, Harleen Delgado.
Because of alleged failure to properly implement the enhanced community quarantine guidelines in their areas, the Interior Department issued show cause orders to 29 barangay chairmen in Manila, Caloocan, Quezon, Parañaque, Makati, Las Piñas, Malabon, Mandaluyong, and Muntinlupa cities. The DILG says this comes after reports from concerned citizens on the failure to observe physical distancing protocols. In addition, are continuing instances of mass gatherings in their barangays, including cockfighting, which even involves some barangay officials. Those barangay chairmen have 48 hours to explain under oath why no administrative charges must be filed against them.
Kung wala pong katanggap-tanggap na paliwanag or maayos na paliwanag, ay kami po ay magsasampa ng kaso sa Office of the Ombudsman laman sa kanila at meron din pong corresponding na endorsement yan sa National Bureau of Investigation.
A special team headed by Undersecretary for Barangay Affairs Martin Nino will lead the investigation on the compliance of barangays with ECQ guidelines. The agency adds it is also preparing show cause orders to be issued in provinces. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, residents in Barangay Molino 3, Bacoor City, Cavite will not be allowed outdoors beginning this midnight. Meanwhile, Davao City authorities imposed coronavirus lockdowns in several zones. Janice Inhente will tell us the reasons why.
Barangay Molino 3, Bacoor City in Cavite Province as of today has 12 confirmed coronavirus cases. This was confirmed by Mayor Lani Mercado Revilla.
12 ang meron sila. Plus, majority po dun sa 12 yun ay may home contamination. So, dapat po talaga i-isolate po natin yung area para hindi na magkaroon ng hawahan pa sa iba pang mga kalapit barangay nito.
This has prompted the city government to impose a total lockdown in the barangay beginning midnight of April 24 until April 30, 2020.
Tuloy pa rin naman ho ang 1 quarantine pass per family. Pero ang kanilang pamimili ay sa loob na lamang po ng Barangay Molino 3 at hindi na ho sila pwedeng lumabas.
Bacoor City authorities will also install 6 checkpoints on the entry and exit points of Barangay Molino 3. These are the areas of Molino 7, Molino 5, Molino 2 Extension Boundary, Imo City Boundary, Celestino Market, and the PNP substation on the border of Molino 2 and 3. On the other hand, roadblocks will be installed in Camilla South Molino 4, Gawaran Extension in Molino 7, Queens Row Central Boundary, and Bilyazana Imo City Boundary. Total confirmed COVID-19 cases in Bacoor City stands at 66, according to the city government's data. Meanwhile, in Davao City, 4 zones are now under lockdown after several confirmed coronavirus cases were recorded in the areas. These are Purok 3, 4, and 7 in Barangay 23-C Mini Forest and Purok 8 in Barangay 21-C Piapi Boulevard. Several other zones will be on lockdown like in Buhangin proper in Buhangin District, which is considered as a hotspot because of the high number of recorded COVID-19 cases. Residents are not allowed outdoors. That means their food and medicine passes will not be honored. Every entry points in the city's barangays will be barricaded. People who are not residents here are not allowed to enter the area. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte commits the city government's readiness to give assistance to the residents for their everyday needs. Local authorities and Davao City COVID-19 Task Force will observe the lockdown situation for 14 days and then decide on whether or not to lift the measures once there are no more new cases reported. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Quezon City government will now have extra set of eyes to monitor how its citizens are complying with social distancing protocols, especially in the city's major public markets. Let's find out why from Asher Kadapan Jr.
The Quezon City government has installed 9 high-precision closed-circuit television or CCTV cameras in major public markets in the city. Mayor Joy Belmonte said these will serve as extra set of eyes for authorities as they strictly implement social distancing to stop the spread of COVID-19. This system will optimize the deployment of law enforcement units corresponding to the situation in 81 public markets across Quezon City. The CCTV cameras will provide a view of real-time situation in the city's public markets to alert administrators or to prompt deployment of augmentation enforcement team if necessary.
Although meron tayong pinapatupad the rules and regulation guidelines para ma-observe ang social distancing, alam naman natin na marami pa rin pasaway. So, with these electronic devices, mas ma-address natin ng mabilis ang problema.
CCTVs were initially installed in 5 public markets such as those in Novaliches, Balintawak, Tandangsora, Cubao, and Commonwealth Avenue. The wireless CCTV cameras have 360-degree view and zooms in and out to monitor adjacent markets in the areas to ensure that physical distancing measures are observed to keep the place safe for everyone. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The World Health Organization warns the world still has a long way to go in this coronavirus pandemic. The WHO is also partnering with telecommunication companies worldwide. Mac Cordova has the details why.
The World Health Organization at a virtual briefing Wednesday said there are worrying upward trends in early epidemics in parts of Africa, Central and South America, and Eastern Europe, although numbers are low at this point. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus noted that most countries are in early stage of their epidemics, and some that were affected early in the pandemic are starting to see a resurgence in cases. Dr. Ghebreyesus has this warning.
Make no mistake, we have a long way to go. This virus will be with us for a long time.
He also underscored the effectiveness of stay-at-home orders and other physical distancing measures in many countries affected by the coronavirus pandemic.
But this virus remains extremely dangerous. Early evidence suggests most of the world's population remains susceptible. That means epidemics can easily reignite. One of the greatest dangers we face now is complacency.
Dr. Ghebreyesus also emphasized the world will not and cannot go back to the way things were.
There must be a new normal, a world that's healthier, safer, and better prepared.
WHO Director General also announced the agency is partnering with telecommunication companies to reach people directly on their mobile phones with text messages to help unleash the power of communication technology to save lives.
This will help reach half of the world's population that doesn't have internet access, starting in the Asia-Pacific region and then rolling out globally. We're calling on all telecommunications companies globally to join this initiative.
The WHO vows to work closely with countries in this fight. Mac Cordova, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And now here's the latest update count of coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached a total of 2,639,243 confirmed cases in 185 countries and regions. The fast-spreading disease has also claimed 183,820 lives, while 715,734 patients across the world have recovered from the deadly disease. The United States of America remains on top of the global tally, still more than 800,000. While Spain has surpassed the 200,000 reach of confirmed cases. That's followed by Italy, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, all with more than 100,000 red members. Turkey has almost 100,000 cases as of today. Iran and China both have over 80,000 confirmed cases, while Russia has a total of 62,773 COVID-19 positives. Meanwhile, the Philippines, as of 4 p.m. today, has a total of confirmed cases of 6,981 after 271 new cases were reported. We now have lost the lives of more than 16 patients, and the death toll is now at 462. But 722 patients are now green cases. Our gallant medical frontliners have helped 29 more patients recover from the disease. President Rodrigo Duterte will address the nation tonight on the enhanced community quarantine. This was confirmed by presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque. Tonight, the president also meets with majority of his cabinet members and presidential spokesperson Roque. Senator Bongo is also present in the meeting. Meanwhile, the police and military personnel deployed in Sampaloc District, Manila City shall observe maximum tolerance while implementing law and order amid the hard lockdown. But violators may face penalties. Dante Amento tells us why.
939 Manila Police District or MPD and AFP Joint Task Force and CR personnel are deployed in Sampaloc District, Manila City. They are tasked to enforce law and order amid the 48-hour hard lockdown in the area that started at 8 tonight. They are assigned to man 5 major and 25 control points and to conduct patrols. But MPD Director Police Brigadier General Rolando Miranda said the law enforcers must observe maximum tolerance. All violators will be apprehended based on the executive order signed by Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso. They will be brought to holding areas and stay there within the hard lockdown period. On the other hand, individuals who will resist or directly assault persons of authority will be charged in accordance with Article 148 or 151 of the Revised Penal Code and the Bayanihan to Heal as One law. Authorities can use police baton or taser to accost violators if necessary.
We will treat each case as humanly as possible when we dispense our duty on this hard lockdown in Sampaloc. So, may mga insidenteng nangyari sa ibang district, wag natin yung siguro hindi na tayo dapat umabot doon.
Meanwhile, Sampaloc Police used the UNTV drone this morning to announce Mayor Dumagoso's pre-recorded audio message to appeal to residents to stay home during the hard lockdown period.
Napakaganda po talaga na meron na tayo mag-take advantage po tayo sa ganitong technology. Nakita po natin very effective. At sabi nga natin, nakita rin po natin yung mensahe ng ating mayor. Ginagamit po nating public address na habang ito pong drone natin ay lumilipad.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
More than 1,000 frontline healthcare workers in the Philippines have been infected with COVID-19. This has been noticed by the World Health Organization. Aiko Miguel explains why.
The increase in the number of cases of COVID-19 infection among our healthcare workers has been worrisome. Based on a DOH report, there are 1,062 medical professionals. Most are doctors and nurses have tested positive for coronavirus. The country has lost 26 of them, 19 are doctors. The World Health Organization is thoroughly monitoring the country's report on infected healthcare workers due to the high infection rate. Based on the DOH investigation, one cause of transmission or infection is improper wearing of personal protective equipment or PPE. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III also explained that some healthcare professionals have bad habits in wearing their scrub suits.
Paglabas, okay, tatanggalin nila yung PPEs nila, pero yung scrub suits underneath, hindi nila tinatanggal. So lalabas sila. So pagka gano'n na nangyari, talagang sabi nila, you will expect a contamination to happen.
Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, meanwhile, said that the employee of the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine or RITM, who first tested positive for COVID-19, got infected through community transmission. And then later on, other RITM medical workers got infected too.
When they go home, and then they go back to work, and then they get infections outside of their workplaces. Ang mga healthcare workers living or working in facilities, they are given boarding places for accommodation. So hindi na sila lumalabas pa, makisalamuha sa iba at babalik dun sa kanilang ospital pagkatapos.
The Chinese medical experts who visited the country recommended a shorter duty shift of healthcare workers to prevent any infection because of prolonged exposure to COVID-19 patients. Last Tuesday, the WHO reminded member countries in the Western Pacific region to assure that the need for PPE among healthcare workers are provided by countries. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Business tycoon Dennis Uy will no longer charge the government for utilizing its two vessels repurposed as COVID-19 quarantine ships. Joanne Nano explains why.
Following backlashes against business tycoon and to-go shipping and logistic company chairman Dennis Uy, the company decided to waive the 35 million peso rental for two of its vessels. These ships are now being utilized by the government as COVID-19 quarantine vessels for repatriated Filipino workers from various parts of the world. It was revealed yesterday by Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade in a virtual press conference that the government has agreed with a 35 million peso 2-month rental fee for these vessels.
Ito ho, rinirentahan ito ng gobyerno, yung dalawa, mga 35 million ho. Namura naman yan, mura, at nagamit if you will compute it on the basis of bed space and use.
The news has garnered various negative comments. Some even accused the business tycoon of being inconsiderate with the government amid the COVID-19 pandemic. In his official statement, Uy explains that he had consulted other company shareholders. He has ordered them not to accept the 35 million peso payment from the government. The businessman also apologized to the public and clarified that they are allowing the use of these vessels free of charge for the Filipinos. Transportation Assistant Secretary Goddess Hope Libiran further explains that it was the DOTR who negotiated the 35 million rent and we had no knowledge about this matter. The DOTR assures the national government has not made any payments for the repurposed to-go vessels. Joanaro, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Chinese embassy in the Philippines criticizes Senator Risa Ontiveros for her call on China to pay for its damages in the West Philippine Sea to be used for COVID-19 response. Arlene Delgado reports why.
The Chinese embassy in Manila has slammed the call of Senator Risa Ontiveros for China to shoulder the COVID-19 expenses of the government as a way to pay its damages to the West Philippine Sea. Earlier, the lady senator cited the University of the Philippines Marine Sciences Institute that China's destruction of reef ecosystems is worth at least 33 billion pesos annually for the past 6 years, now amounting to over 200 billion pesos. In a statement, the Chinese embassy said it is irresponsible and ridiculously absurd to make such remark, allegedly for the purpose of attention and selfish political gains of the senator. It added that China and the Philippines are friendly neighbors across the sea and that it will continue to support the Philippines in fighting the crisis. In response, Hontiveros says it is more irresponsible and absurd that China has continued to violate the Philippine sovereignty in the middle of global pandemic. The lady senator adds, China cannot claim to be a friendly neighbor when it had continued its land reclamation activities in the West Philippine Sea. Hontiveros also noted, friends help each other out and not occupy their islands and destroy their reefs. Jorlin Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, a policeman who killed a retired military officer at a Quezon City checkpoint may face criminal and administrative charges. The victim's sister says the killed retired private first class had a mental disorder. Lea Ilagan reports the reason why.
This is a video circulating on social media shot last April 21 at a checkpoint in Maligaya Drive, Barangay Pasong Puti, Quezon City.
Sige, subukan mo.
You will hear the altercation between a police officer and another man who was later found out to be retired Private First Class Winston Ragos. QCPD Director Police Brigadier General Ronnie Montejo explained that Ragos walked toward the checkpoint and lambasted a police trainee. On the video, you will notice that Police Master Sergeant Daniel Florendo Jr. drew his firearms at Ragos while other policemen were telling him to surrender. Instead of surrendering, Ragos faced the cop and moved as if getting something from his sling bag. Then Florendo Jr. fired his gun 2 times at Ragos. Montejo added a Smith & Wesson 38 revolver with 4 live ammunition were found from the sling bag of Ragos, but Ragos' sister denied such allegation.
Itanim na nila lahat ng gusto nilang itanim. Na nakalagay sa spot report, mayroon daw baril sa loob ng bag ng kapatid ko. Yun po hindi namin matatanggap dahil hindi po totoo yun.
Ragos was taken to Commonwealth Hospital but was later declared dead. The QCPD director explained, it's the team leader's judgment call. The victim lambasted them, so during the instance Ragos was believed to be getting a firearm, Florendo shot him. The Philippine Army has ordered an investigation on the killing of Ragos even though he had retired in January 2017 because of being diagnosed with a mental disorder. Janet Ragos Makahilig confirmed his brother was suffering from schizophrenia.
Open pa naman po sana kami kahit sa anong reconciliation na mangyayari. Kaya alam naman po namin kahit pa paano may kapabayaan kami sa kapatid ko.
Based on validation, Ragos was not part of the troops that battled in Marawi. Instead, he was assigned in Camarines Norte in 2010. Montejo added Florendo surrendered with his service firearm used in the shooting incident. Florendo may face criminal and administrative charges if proven guilty. The QCPD appeals to the public to follow the enhanced community quarantine protocols and respect the authorities. Lea Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Malacanang assures a fair investigation into the shooting incident that involves a police officer and a retired soldier in Quezon City. The palace also explains the incident has nothing to do with any of the statements of President Rodrigo Duterte.
At nangangako po naman ang gobyerno, ang presidente, na magkakaroon ng patas na investigasyon dito dahil ang iimbestigahan ay isa ring taong gobyerno, isang pulis, at ang biktima ay isa ring sundalo. Makakaasa po kayo sa patas at mabilis na investigasyon.
2,000 sea-based and land-based overseas Filipino workers have been repatriated halfway through the week according to the Foreign Affairs Department. Today, 252 seafarers of Marella Explorer from London returned to the Philippines. The repatriation of those crew members was made possible by the DFA and the Philippine Embassy in London in coordination with partner agencies. This is part of the whole of government approach in assisting our distressed OFWs amidst this crisis, the DFA says. Meanwhile, a DFA consular office in Zamboanga assisted stranded foreigners in Western Mindanao today. DFA teamed up with the Department of Tourism to assist foreign nationals who've been stranded in Western Mindanao due to the ECQ in Luzon and in some parts of the country. Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto in a tweet said he met with several other mayors, policy experts, and Senator Win Gatchalian through a virtual conference. The discussion centered on the enhanced community quarantine exit strategy. Mayor Soto explained there must be careful planning from transportation to testing for COVID-19 among their constituents. The Supreme Court will release the results of the 2019 bar examinations on Wednesday next week, April 29, according to a notice released today by the Office of the Bar Confidant. Bar candidates or examinees, however, are advised to stay home and check the results online, which will be posted on the court's website. Traditionally, aspiring lawyers or their friends and relatives would check a list of passers displayed in Supreme Court premises. But due to the government's call for social distancing to prevent the spread of COVID-19, no visitors will be allowed to enter the Supreme Court compound on the said date. 7,699 bar candidates completed the examinations held in Manila in November of last year. And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, Diego. France now trails Spain's death tally by only a few hundred. French health agency director points out a hypothesis that smokers are at less risk of COVID-19 infection. June Garin explains why.
France has the fourth highest casualty tally due to coronavirus in the world. On Wednesday, it registered 21,340 deaths from coronavirus infections, and that just increased by less than 50 as of this morning. It's trailing just a few hundred behind Spain, which has a death toll of more than 21,700.
There are 250 less patients than beds in intensive care. But we must not forget that there are more than 2,000 sick people who are currently hospitalized in intensive care in France for reasons other than COVID-19. So you can imagine the current pressure on intensive care teams with more than 7,000 patients to treat in these conditions.
French Health Agency Director Jérôme Salomon also urged caution in evaluating a hypothesis by a Paris hospital that smokers are at less risk of COVID-19 infection. Salomon pointed out an interesting lead, wherein nicotine could compete with the virus in attaching to a receptor, hence slowing down the speed at which the virus attaches itself to cells.
All this is just a hypothesis, obviously. It must be subject to more rigorous research and warrants absolute confirmation.
June Garin, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Mexico City transforms one of its convention center into a temporary COVID-19 facility. Miguel Rey de Leon clarifies why.
Mexico reported on Wednesday it has now over 10,000 cases of coronavirus. This is the fifth highest tally in Latin America. Earlier this week, Mexico entered into the so-called Phase 3 of the spread of the novel coronavirus, the most serious stage, as senior health officials warned that the transmission of the virus is intensifying. Mexico has so far registered more than 900 coronavirus deaths and over 10,000 confirmed infections. Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum said there are 73 public hospitals that are attending to COVID-19 patients aside from private hospitals.
But we need much more capacity to face what could be the worst case scenario in Mexico City and its metropolitan area. That is why these private companies and foundations are undertaking these efforts, and that is fundamental.
In anticipation of an uptake in patients, a convention center in the capital has been converted to a hospital facility to treat cases of the virus. Across the region, only Brazil, Peru, Chile, and Ecuador have more confirmed cases. Miguel Rey de Leon, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut states will join hands for a program on tracing coronavirus cases, which for Governor Cuomo is the best way to do it. Aaron Romero has the story why.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said on Wednesday that he will work with neighboring Connecticut and New Jersey on a joint program. The aim is to trace the contacts of people exposed to the coronavirus outbreak to try to prevent further spread. The effort to investigate cases in the state at the epicenter of the U.S. crisis will be led by Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York City and former presidential candidate, Cuomo told a daily briefing. Bloomberg would make a financial contribution of upward of $10 million, Cuomo's aide Melissa De Rosa said.
It's best to do this tracing on a tri-state area. Why? Because that's how our society works. The virus doesn't stop at jurisdictional boundaries.
Many residents of Connecticut and New Jersey commute to jobs in nearby New York City, increasing their risk of contagion. With coronavirus-related hospitalizations trending lower in New York, Cuomo has in the last few days turned his attention to the challenge of widespread testing and tracing, both of which he has said are key to getting New Yorkers back to work. Cuomo also underscored that hospitalizations for COVID-19 fell below 16,000 on Tuesday, declining for the 9th straight day. Intubations also continued falling while the state had 474 additional deaths on Tuesday, the lowest daily total since April 1st.
Number of lives lost is still breathtakingly painful, and the worst news that I have to deliver every day, and the worst news that I've ever had to deal with as governor of New York. But at least it's not going up anymore, and it seems to be on a gentle decline.
Aaron Romero, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, Iran launched its first military satellite on Wednesday. The United States of America is strongly against it. Beverly Saison details why.
Iran launched the country's first military satellite into orbit on Wednesday. Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps Chief Hussein Salami said the launch is an important achievement for the country.
We made a leap in the field of strategic intelligence and information capability.
The powerful elite force said a messenger satellite carrier was used to launch the Noor satellite without going into further detail on the technology used. The launch took place at a time of high tension with the United States over Tehran's nuclear and missile programs and months after Iranian top military commander Qasem Soleimani was killed in a U.S. drone strike in Baghdad on January 3rd. Noor is now orbiting 425 kilometers above the Earth's surface, the Guard said on their website. But according to U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Iran needs to be held accountable for what they have done.
But when you talk about the UN Security Council Resolution 2231, I think every nation has an obligation to go to the United Nations and evaluate whether this missile launch was consistent with that Security Council resolution. I don't think it remotely is.
Pompeo also noted that Iran must prioritize responding to the demands of Iranian people in this time of need.
I only wish that the Iranian regime cared about its people as much as the rest of the world has demonstrated that it does.
He added the offer of humanitarian assistance to Iran, which has earlier been rejected, still stands. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday he had instructed the U.S. Navy to fire on any Iranian ships that harass it at sea. This comes a week after 11 vessels from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy came dangerously close to U.S. ships in the Gulf. Beverly Sison, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news abroad. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Kath Dumaraos, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand.
A university in Colombia carried out a first-of-its-kind graduation ceremony in a practically empty auditorium. Nina Armilio tells the story why.
Hernando Hernández Morales.
In its commitment to fulfill the dreams and goals of students, La Universidad del Margarita in Santa Marta, Colombia, was not hindered by the lockdown measures imposed by the government. Students at the university did not expect to attend a unique graduation ceremony, but they carried it out nonetheless, right from the comfort of their own homes. And that's with the help of a robot. The students just log on at home while the robot, in a graduation gown, did the honors for them. While the university rector handed out their certificates, the robot motored to the front of the ceremony to receive the diplomas in place of the graduates. The students were also able to take their oath. Mayra Alejandra Flores, a graduate from medicine faculty, hopes she can do more after finishing the course in time for the pandemic that has turned most countries upside down.
It was a challenge, but it brought me joy, even though it took place under unexpected circumstances. Given the situation as a medic, I hope my profession is of help to humanity, for the world in general in these difficult times that we are going through, to do my bit.
Colombia has over 4,000 confirmed coronavirus cases and nearly 200 deaths. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, we are at a time when the country is under a state of health emergency. The cooperation of all Filipinos is imperative to avoid the deadly virus. We are calling on everyone to be calm.
And most importantly, let us join together in prayer for our country and for the whole world to survive this crisis. You may join us in our daily UNTV community prayer at these hours as flashed on your screens. And those are the reasons behind the news. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And I am Angelo Castro III. Because we need to know, we will always ask why.